You're listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast brought to you by DraftKings. Great deal going on. You throw down $1 on an NBA game, and if that team wins, you get $150 in free plays. That simple, that easy. All right, now joined by the most connected U of A football man in the city, Mr. Michael Lev. He's got a lot of things going on right now, so Michael, still really appreciate you hopping on here, my man.
It's my pleasure, Mike. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. All right. First and foremost, I want to give you and I a little bit of credit before we get in here. We were basically two people on the island when we said that we would go with Will Plummer over Gunnar Cruz right there. History proved that, you know what? The Michaels with the one-syllable last name know some things from time to time.
You can get a really good deal on Will Plummer Island right now, too. Because, I mean, kidding. In all likelihood, I mean, assuming Jayden de Laura stays healthy and is as good as he looked at Washington State, as good as they think he can be, everyone else is fighting for a backup role.
Right.
I remember, talking to Jedd Fisch kind of I think it was December, before, things really got heated up with the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. And his kind of message regarding the quarterback situation was, I like the room that I have. We're only going to go after somebody if it's a clear upgrade. Mm-hmm. So I think Jayden de Laura represents that upgrade.
Okay, let's go back a little bit first, because obviously you got to cover the closest or the best Arizona signing day really ever. The one thing, though, that's pretty interesting about your background, though, and not a lot of people know, is that you've covered some really talented signing days from other schools. Tell people just a little bit about Michael Lev before he got to Tucson.
Yeah, well, before this job, I worked for the Orange County Register in Southern California from 2000 to 2015. And for about half that time, I covered the NFL. For about the other half, I covered USC football and basketball. So this was the tail end of the Pete Carroll era. I covered two of his seasons and got a little bit of Lane Kiffin, a little bit of Clay Helton, a little bit of Steve Sarkisian. There was a lot of tumult, right, and turnover, from that 2008 through 2015 period. But yeah, even through all of that, sanctions, coaching changes, USC was bringing in big time talent, right? Regularly in the top 15 in the nation, maybe even the top 10. So, I mean, there's no question when I came here that I was used to a certain level and had to kind of readjust my expectations and my sights a little bit when I got here. And it's certainly nice to see that things are trending in the other direction now with this top 25 class that Jedd was able to put together.
All right. You had a great article in the Arizona Daily Star a couple weeks ago detailing kind of behind the scenes about how this class really came together. Just kind of sum up for us how this came about from all of your reporting, obviously, for the Star, because it was a great article.
Well, thank you. I think the biggest thing to me is just the amount of energy, effort, work, and time that the staff has put into this. Mm-hmm. They were, you can't just show up at some kid's house with an Arizona polo right now, right, and expect that that's going to be enough.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can do that with an Alabama polo. You can do that with a Georgia polo. You can do that with an Ohio State polo, maybe a USC polo. You can't do it. You can't just walk in with the red and blue of Arizona and expect that you're going to be able to sign a kid. So from the top down, that's starting with Jedd Fisch, who's a tireless worker. He was determined to set a tone of hard work and effort and energy that the entire staff was going to put in toward recruiting. Okay.
Right.
So we'll start with that. I mean, they called every single high school that plays football in the state of Arizona. They signed everybody across the staff, whether you're a coach or otherwise, all 40 people or 39 people, whatever it was. Here's your list of high schools, and we're going to call them on a regular basis.
Right.
Okay. So I think that kind of set the tone, set the groundwork for their overall kind of recruiting thrust.
Right.
And then some things started to go their way, right? They got a commitment from Noah Fifita, the quarterback from Servite High School in Anaheim, California. And he sort of turned into the Pied Piper for them, for a lot of these other Southern California recruits, including, 3 of his teammates, 2 of whom came before the season ended. And then, of course, the cherry on top was Tetairoa McMillan, the wide receiver from Servite, the best player in California, one of the top 35 players in the country, maybe top 15 players in the country, depending on which service you look at. And that one was a factor of his friends were going there, his teammates, plus, and this is part of recruiting, a little bit of luck. Mm-hmm. You have to have a little bit of good fortune. And Tetairoa McMillan was committed to Oregon. Oregon changed coaches. That opened the door for Arizona to slide in there. They had always kept in contact with him. So they were able to parlay his relationships with his teammates plus their relationship with him into landing maybe the biggest recruit that Arizona football has ever landed.
It was amazing. This was probably about 2 months ago, and Sterling Lane, another 4-star pass rusher, he came on, and I asked him, I said, what's the difference with Arizona? Why did you commit when you could have gone a lot of different places? And it really stuck with me. He said, they're relentless. He says, it's not that they want me, it's that they knew everything about me. They were talking about my progression from my freshman to my sophomore year, how they could see me utilizing me. He said it wasn't just that they wanted to sign me, it's that they wanted me there more so than anyone. And he said it wasn't even close. And I think that kind of goes to your reporting right there.
I think that I don't want to throw the term lazy onto anyone, any previous staff. Maybe that's too hard of a word, but I think that this staff recognized that you need to go the extra mile. We need to do more. We need to outwork everybody else.
Right.
Just doing the same as everybody else is just not going to be good enough.
Right.
Also, I mean, look, when you're 1-11 and you've had a 20-game losing streak, there's legit opportunities to come in and play right away. And I think they could sell that too, at least for this one off season, right? They could sell what I call the combo package of hope and optimism. For this one season, you can sell, hey, you can come in, you can play right away, you can be part of the change, you can be part of the turnaround. You're not going to be able to have that same pitch next off season, Mike.
Right. Oh,
no way. So they're going to have to start winning, pull a couple upsets over the course of the season. I think, that class plus the transfers will enable them to be a lot better team than they were. But it was kind of all of those things coming together and Jedd Fisch setting the tone from the top on down that enabled this to happen.
We're joined by Michael Lev, U of A insider, beat writer for the Arizona Daily Star, does a lot of great work. You should be following him on Twitter, following him obviously on everything that he posts. Mike, before we get into a little Jade and Delora talk, just kind of tell how can they follow you? How can they get in touch with you? What are the best ways?
Sure. I tweet a lot. I'm on there all the time. My Twitter handle is at Michael J. Lev, L-E-V. We also have an app that enables you to get all of our Arizona Wildcats sports-related material for free.
Right.
It's a free app. It's called the
Wildcats. It's a one-stop shop, literally. I was telling PJ Brown that the other day. Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to get the news stories, and our news side does a great job as well, of course, of covering all things in and around Tucson. But if you just want the sports, you can download that app, the Wildcaster, for free.
Right.
And it's all there for you.
It's fantastic. Okay. Got about 5 minutes here with you. All right. Jade and Delora. So going into this, after all the dust had seemingly settled before Delora signs with the U of A or comes here, I'm thinking to myself, all right, Arizona football recruiting is a lot different than basketball recruiting, just in the way that John Calipari can go to any school and bring 5-star kids and they'll immediately be good. In football, it's a lot different just because of the physicality, because of the numbers, the difference between an 18 to a 22-year-old, plus the fact that Arizona didn't really have a great quarterback on its roster. You and I are Will Plummer guys, but, we can be honest here at the same time. Bringing in a guy who was the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year changed it a little bit for me to where I'm looking at it, and again, I don't expect a bowl or anything, but I'm thinking, you could improve to maybe 4 wins this season now that you have a stable signal caller back there. Michael, what are you looking for from the team this season? And a win-loss, on the field, what are you looking for?
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think the addition of Jayden de Laura, and obviously it's not just him, there's a lot of other guys that they've brought in who we think are going to be instant impact players, like Jacob Cowling, the wide receiver from UTEP, Tia Savea, the defensive tackle from UCLA. But having a quarterback who was the offensive freshman of the year in the Pac-12, started 16 games, has experienced success so far, I think that raises the ceiling. I think something in the 4 to 6 win range is possible. We'll have to see over the course of spring and training camp, what the holes are still on the team. I'm a little bit worried about offensive line, still middle linebacker. I'm not really sure what's going on there with a lot of guys who are either inexperienced or injured or haven't played that position. But man, having a better play at quarterback, it can solve a lot of problems. Right. It can make your offensive line look better.
Right.
It can, if the defense is worried about the passing game, it can improve your running game. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really going to make a difference. If you look at the quarterback room right now compared to where it was a year ago, you've got this 2 guys in the room now who have extensive college experience. And if you want to throw Will Plummer in there, now that he's got 7 or 8 starts,
right, exactly,
in his resume, and he's maybe number 3 behind Jayden de Laura and Jordan McLeod, who look pretty good. Mm-hmm. I know he threw a ton of interceptions in that game against Oregon.
But he was different. He was able to move the ball in ways that the other 2 just weren't.
If you just looked at the stats and you didn't watch the games, you wouldn't understand what you're saying.
Correct.
But it's true, right? When he was in there, the offense moved. It was much more efficient. So let's say he's your number 2. Mm-hmm. That's just a much better quarterback situation than what they had. I love the fact that Jayden de Laura was able to get here in January. Very valuable to have that spring practice to learn a new system, to learn some new fundamentals that he's going to have to learn, taking snaps under center. But I'm with you. I'm really bullish on what they can be because of that one acquisition.
Michael Lev from the Arizona Daily Star. Mike, again, I can't thank you enough for coming on and giving me a few minutes. I know you're busy right now, so I'll let you get back to some homeowner maintenance.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Anytime, man.
As always, Michael Lev from the Arizona Daily Star. Thanks again, Michael. All right, that was awesome having Michael on, and I wanted people to know a little bit about Michael's background because it's a pretty cool background, to be honest with you. There's not a lot of people that are able to cover the USC Trojans up close for the amount of time that he did. So, when you have somebody like myself that's just used to watching Arizona recruiting, it's just not the same as when you have somebody like Michael Lev in there that's been able to see it. So again, Mike, really appreciate it. All right. One thing though, I got to tell you all about is the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Code word PHNX. Here's the deal. You throw down dollar on NBA game. And if that team wins, you get $150 in free plays. That simple, that easy. You might be saying it can't be. It is. I promise you. It's that easy. So go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Get your deal in. Again, new customers only. Eligibility restrictions do apply. If you got a gambling problem, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. They'll get you all taken care of. All right. Before we sign off right here, I wanted to get into a little bit of U of A football. Keep going and wanted to talk just a tad bit of U of A basketball as well. All right. I think what Michael put on there is exactly right. Bringing in a quarterback like Jayden de Laura changes the equation. You've got now a quarterback that is proven at a pretty high level. Now, again, it's not like you're bringing in, Bryce Young or something, but you're bringing in a guy that's one of the, 20 best quarterbacks in the country. And that's something that we just haven't seen here in a long time. I mean, a long time. You could probably make the case since Khalil Tate had his meteoric 6-8 game run here, that Arizona really hasn't had anybody in the backfield like that. And so that's going to make a lot of things easier. And again, while I'm a Will Plummer guy, I thought he got kind of a bum rap. There's a lot of times when you're watching from a bird's eye view and you're saying to yourself, man, there's guys open right in front. That's a thing that I think will be solved very quickly with the Jayden de Laura. And the Jayden de Laura, I think, will be able to get the ball to those guys. And he's going to be able to get the ball to the receivers right there in the manner in which they need it. because you're talking about guys now in a McMillan, 5-star wide receiver, a Jacob Cowling from UTEP. I mean, heck, there's guys that we're not even talking about, like, Kevin Green, USC decommit wide receiver, who's like the 5th highest rated receiver in the class, or pass catcher. That's the kind of stuff you're looking at, and that's why it's kind of fun to be able to cover this right now in the flesh. Here's what you should also do. You should go PHNX, get the membership. You get a free Back the A t-shirt on top of that. You got all kinds of merchandise. You got stickers. You got all kinds of really good stuff, and you should hit subscribe on the AZ Wildcats podcast. All right. I'm going to be off tomorrow. For everybody out there that's curious, Bruno just got through his 2nd day of radiation. He's sleeping right now. He's a beast. He's been able to, we're going to go to the dog park later on today. Bruno has been absolutely fantastic. So for everybody out there that's been curious, he's doing really well. All right, real quick. I want to get to Arizona basketball here just for a minute. And I'm generally not a guy that's a blame the official, blame the national media type. But it is a little annoying, and again, I'm nitpicking here. This is probably my fandom coming out a little bit, that Arizona is now 3 in the rankings as opposed to 2. Now, it really doesn't matter big picture. I'm not losing any sleep over it. But, I mean, let's be honest here. Auburn lost to a team that was unranked just last week. Arizona doesn't have any losses like that. They lost on the road to Tennessee and UCLA, and that's it. So their losses are better than Auburn's. And, oh, by the way, Arizona just keeps winning and just keeps blowing out opponents. I would have preferred to have seen Arizona at 2. Again, it's a little lighthearted there. But one thing that I have come to the conclusion of, everybody out there, I believe that Arizona controls its own destiny. Because I believe if Arizona wins out and they're, 33-2 or whatever, you're probably going to have to play UCLA again. You're probably going to have to play SC at some point. That point, I think you're looking at and you're saying, I think it's pretty difficult to not give them the number 1 overall seed, being who they just continue to play, who they continue to beat. Who knows? Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. A little annoyed about the ranking, but overall, I think Arizona is going to be able to take care of it. One thing, though, that you don't have to worry about, DraftKings Sportsbook app. Code word PHNX. You throw down $1 on an NBA game, you get $150 in free plays. That's simple. Easy. You got a lot of games coming on tonight. I like I'm not going to tell you who I like because then I feel bad if somebody puts it in there and they don't get it. So check out the slate of games. NBA's here. If you're not an NBA fan, get in on the NBA now because it makes it a little more interesting when you've got some money on the equation. All right. Going to be off tomorrow. We'll be back with you on Thursday, breaking everything down, hopefully from another Arizona basketball beatdown. For everybody out there, really appreciate you all. Michael Lev, you're the man. I'm not kidding when I'm talking about you and PJ Brown and everybody there being a one-stop shop for everything I need. I appreciate you guys all. You've been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast.